So on my trip to Vietnam 4 years ago this summer, we did Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos because I flew around all those countries. But the last day we were there on this 17-day trip, we were in Saigon. And they took us to our tour guides took us to the presidential palace. And that's where the enemy crashed through the gates with their tanks and took over the government and that type of thing after we were gone. And that has been turned into a museum. We kind of restored to the 70s, and so my family and I and my other friends, my roommate that I lived in Vietnam was also with me, and we go there and we do the tour of the museum type, presidential palace, and it was really interesting. It's restored to the 70s, and then we get done. Of course, it's extremely hot. We're there in July because it's the time we could get over there with the grandchildren. And they said, if you want to go up on the roof garden, they're serving Coca-Cola and ice water and stuff like that up there that you can buy. And of course, it's hot, so we said, yeah, we'll go up. Well, the helipad where the president used to fly in and out of was still there, up there on that roof. And then they were serving these cold drinks, which was great. And we're relaxing and cooling off in the shade. And my roommate comes over and says, Mick, who are these people over here in the green uniforms? We didn't know. So we go get the interpreter and we go talk to them. They are retired, 5 men and 2 women. They are retired North Vietnamese military officers. They are the enemy. They're doing the same tour we just did. They were just a little bit behind us. So we're talking to them, and my wife was really struggling because she found out who they were, and these are the guys that were trying to kill her husband, as the enemy, so to speak. And the kids and grandkids were just kind of awed by the whole thing, but Harold and I, my roommate and I, were talking to them, and then the 2 tour guides were also in Vietnam, same time I was. So the 4 of us are interacting with them through the interpreter, and there ended up being lots of laughs, handshakes, hugs, and then they took a picture of us, and we're posing, starting to line up to pose for the picture, and this one colonel stands next to me, and he comes about to hear on me, and I'm looking over there, and I'm thinking, this wasn't really fair. I'm a lot bigger than these guys. None of those guns they were using against me were anti-aircraft artillery, were really big things, but anyway, you had pictures taken and everything like that, and then we're talking some more. And this one guy who's a retired, they go by stars on their colonels over there, 2-star colonel. He has 4 children. All 4 children are Americans. They live in America. They have their own businesses or professions in America. He loves America. It was ironic, that this all happened. We had this chance. And these 2 tour guides, one had done led 39 tours over there, and one guy had done 17. They had never seen anything like this happen before, and it was just a really cool event, and we get back on the bus, and of course my roommate Harold is observing the feelings and mixed feelings in the family, and my wife Judy, and right before we leave to go to the bus, we get to talking about the invasion into Laos, which is in this book. We find out right before we depart that when I was the first guy into the objective on the invasion in my helicopter. Those guys I'm standing there talking to were the guys on the ground shooting the anti-aircraft artillery. The actual guys, not representative of them, but the actual guys on the ground. And it just, and for some people that may sound terrible, but it was cool that 40 years later we got to laugh together and shake hands and hug and talk about kids, grandchildren, and things like that. And then we got on the bus, and my roommate Harold had observed the struggles and confusion my family was having, and he just picked up the microphone when we all got on the bus, and he said, I saw mixed feelings back there and in how you reacted to meeting these guys, but he said, you need to remember something. They didn't want to be there, and we didn't want to be there. But that's where we were, and we all did the best we could. And it's 40 years later, and we can be friends. And it was just a phenomenal experience to wrap up our 17 days of traveling through that country. So that kind of goes back to your question about how I feel about the people and them coming to America. I think they're a great addition to America. They're really good people.